Hi there, this is Erica Cardinal.
And Alex Robinson bringing you this week's edition of CSTV News.
As many of you may know, Cedar Springs has a couple nicknames, shortening the name to Cedar for one. Another more controversial one is also quite popular, Cedar Tucky.
Personally, I like to think that Cedar Springs is a small, close-knit community where everyone knows everyone.
Cedar Springs seems to be a rural community on the outskirts of Grand Rapids, what would be termed an exurb of Grand Rapids.
Cedar Springs, personally to me, is a home. It's a place that I'm familiar with. I've grown up here, have people I know, people that support me, care for me.
Personally, I think that Cedar Springs is country just because it's out in a rural area next to all the farmland.
Well, I would say that Cedar Springs is country because there's a country culture here where people work on farms. I think every student I have owns a horse, pickup trucks everywhere. We drive your tractor to school day.
I don't think Cedar Springs should be considered country for the reasons that most of the people actually in the school are being stereotyped for something that they aren't. They're not country, and that's not what Cedar Springs is.
Personally, I don't think that Cedar Tucky affects me in any way. I mean, I don't inherit that stereotype, so it doesn't really bother me.
I don't really have any feelings about it. I suppose if I lived here and I wasn't country, it would bother me. But I guess when you live in a community that kind of condones flying rebel flags, then you can't be too upset about it.
I think Cedar Tucky does affect me. It makes me feel like they're just looking at where I come from. They're not actually thinking about the person I am, not looking at my personality, not actually looking at anything about me. They're just thinking about where I'm from, the people that they stereotype that all of a sudden now I'm a part of.
Today we bring you some of the history of Cedar Springs, but more specifically, Kent Theaters and the way it has brought our community together.
Hi, this is CSTV News and I'm John Grigsby, and today we're going to talk to you about the adventures of the Kent Theater and see what it's like.
This theater has a lot of history. It was built as a dance hall in the 1880s. It was called the Hubbard Opera House, and because it was a town with sawmills, shingle mills, and everything, there were a lot of guys working here. In fact, Cedar Springs at one time was bigger than it is now, and they needed entertainment.
The Kent Theater is actually the center of downtown, so we call it the gem of Cedar Springs.
They decided movies were getting big and live performances were great, but movies were the thing.
We're just trying to bring something to this community so they have some entertainment, they have some education, and some culture.
Well, last year we brought 20,000 people to Cedar Springs who wouldn't normally be here to come and see movies and plays. Mm-hmm. We've always thought from the beginning that the Kent Theater was the anchor store for downtown, and that if we could get the Kent Theater up and running, other businesses would show up and flourish.
People can come here. We keep it reasonably priced now with the movies and so on. It's only $3 a ticket. People come here to rent for weddings. They rent it for karaoke nights.
So since then, what we've done all kinds of things. We use the newspaper with stories. We use Facebook. We use our website, and of course media if we can. We do that just about every avenue we can think of we use.
For more on the Kent Theater's rich history in Cedar Springs or how to get involved with Kent Theater, check out their website at kenttheater.org.
This has been John Grigsby with CSTV News. Thank you guys and good night. It's a great day to be a Red Hawk.
And as usual, we'd like to keep you guys updated on what's going on all over the world. So we head to World News in 60 seconds with Austin Kemp.
Recently in world news, the CDC has joined the investigation on the rise of dengue fever carried by mosquitoes. There has been 100 new cases in the Hawaiian Islands, and there is no vaccine or official treatment for it. Thousands pressure the government to look for an official treatment, all while pesticide is sprayed throughout the streets. In other news, the cause for the recent AirAsia crash was determined. The plane had a malfunction in the rudder, resulting in the crew failing to control the aircraft as it went into a long stall. On impact, it killed all 162 aboard. The biggest flaw was said to be the pilot's response to the problem. In lighter news, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, has vowed to donate 99% of his shares from Facebook, over $45 billion, to charitable purposes around the world. For instance, in 2010, he donated $100 million to improve public schools in Newark. Lastly, a couple in Los Angeles created a new, cheaply made, nearly indestructible soccer ball to be given to children across the world who can't afford one, along with the funding of the rock star Sting. The creation will help spread happiness and joy to hundreds of thousands of kids globally. That's all for World News this week. I'm Austin Kemp. Now back to you.
Thanks for the update, Austin. Now over to Chris for a look on our upcoming winter sports.
Hello, my name is Chris Skates with CSTV Sports with this week's special edition. Two of our winter programs, the boys basketball team and the wrestling team, are some of the most historically successful programs in the history of Cedar Springs High School. Between the two of them, they have 27 conference championships and 7 regional championships. Both teams look to build off their previous success as their seasons get underway. Now let's send it over to Alex Tanis and Jonathan Wolfharth in the gymnasium for more about this topic.
Thanks, Chris. I'm Jonathan Wolfharth here with Alex Tanis. We're going to be talking to you about the upcoming seasons for both the boys basketball team and the wrestling team. So, Alex, let's talk about the wrestling team. I want to hear about Ryan Ringler.
Ryan Ringler, obviously a star freshman. He played linebacker and a little bit of running back for Cedar Springs, the varsity football team. And just coming in as a freshman, he has high hopes. He wrestled at the amateur level all the way up and through middle school. And now coming in at about 150-pound weight class, he is really looking like through practices that he's going to tear it up.
All right. Now, who are going to be some key seniors to watch for this year?
Obviously, Jacob Patterson will obviously have a strong season. But what really has my eye is going to be junior Patrick DiPiazza. The big man wrestling in the heavyweight class, played tackle for most of the season for the Red Hawks on the varsity football team. I think he's going to be a leader, and I think he's going to be taking the commanding role over this Cedar Springs varsity wrestling team.
Where do you expect their season to be going, Alex?
Obviously, they're going to have a strong season. They usually do. And I just see the wrestling team making it to districts and all the way through, and I see Patrick DiPiazza and the Ringler boys going to state again this year.
It's like Chris said, wrestling has been historically a very successful program here at Cedar Springs, and we look for that to continue here going into the next season. Another program that has also been successful, like Chris said, has been our basketball program. With a conference championship just as recently as 2007, the Hawks will look to contend to be top 2 in conference and districts this season. One of the key things for them is going to be adjusting to the loss of graduating senior player Brad Brechting. Brechting was a key component on the team on both offense and defense for the last several years. They're going to be adjusting to that loss. They're going to need to play at a faster pace, and they're going to need players like Jameson Pafalka, Taylor Van Dyke, and Jalen and Nick Jackson to step up and take command.
Yeah, obviously Jalen and Nick Jackson, the two brothers playing, with Nick being a sophomore this year. That's going to be a big role for Nick to fill with his brother Jalen. But obviously, I see this team being very good. I personally think I will see them play better than they did last year, just with the speed and the talent of Taylor Van Dyke leading this team through all these obstacles throughout the season.
Yeah, I agree, Alex. I expect this team to not miss a beat without Brad. They should be very successful. One of the key opponents for them this season is going to be Wyoming and how they match up against Wyoming. If they can match up well against Wyoming, they should be successful this year.
Yeah, and obviously Wyoming being a very good team this year. Obviously the OK Conference is a super hard conference. And I'm just excited. Cedar Springs starting out their game this Tuesday, actually tomorrow, as they will take on Kellogg'sville, the Rockets, as their first game, and they will come back home Friday night to take on Holland at 7 o'clock here in the one and only Hawks Nest.
Yeah, you said it, 7 o'clock here Friday night. Be here, Cedar Springs High School. Support your Red Hawks. It's going to be crazy loud up in here. Alex, who do you got winning?
Holland always has a fast team. They have a very good team. They have very good perimeter shooters. And I don't know personally, but I see Cedar Springs being almost like the Michigan State football team, where everybody thinks that they're down, and then somehow they fight their way back into stuff. Obviously, with the younger roster this year, I feel like Cedar Springs has the advantage over not only Kellogg'sville tomorrow night, but then again over Holland Friday night. So, that's where my opinion is. What are you thinking?
Well, it's like you said, Holland's going to be a very strong opponent for Cedar Springs, but I'm going to take Cedar Springs is going to really need to step up. They're going to need to play their hearts out. But in the end, will it be enough? My answer?
There you have it. Cedar Springs, Holland, this Friday night, tomorrow night at Kellogg'sville. We hope to see you back here on CSTV. Thank you for watching CSTV Sports. Now back to you guys at the news desk.
Thanks to everyone for this week's news. Now, we do have a couple of announcements. First, if you haven't gotten your yearbook yet, the prices will go up to $80 as of January 1st, so make sure to get those order forms in.
Also, winter break is coming up soon. Dates are December 19th through January 3rd.
That's it for now. Have a great week, guys.
And remember, it's a great day
to be a Red Hawk.